Hey, Five Finance family. Welcome to this edition of Flip It with Samara, the power of tax planning. All this month, we have been talking about legacy and how we can build our legacy, how we can grow our legacy, how we share our legacy, the different avenues we use to build our legacy. But tonight, we're going to be talking about how to protect that legacy. And because this is definitely not my wheelhouse, I brought on a special guest that's going to walk us through how to do just that, right? But before we get into that, let me officially welcome everybody that is in the chat. Thank you so much, Samurai, for joining. Welcome, Wayne Andrews. Welcome, Karen White. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you all, Five Finance family. So I want y'all to keep that same energy up. Make sure that you have your questions ready throughout the live because we will be sure, as always, to address them. All right. So at here when we have the live, you know that this is a platform for you to be engaging, right? We're here to share, we're here to educate, so we definitely want you to be able to do the same. So make sure that you're putting comments in the live, putting your questions in the live, and we'll be sure to address them throughout the show. And if by some chance we don't get to them, we'll be sure to address them in the comment section later on, right? So I created Flip It because I wanted to share with you the knowledge and the skill sets that I have gained over the years of practicing. Hey, Angelica, glad that you made it, fam. The knowledge and the skills that I have gained over the years by practicing accounting, right? And I know that there are certain areas that I may not be an expert in, but guess what, y'all? I got a tribe, I got a family. And so that's when I connect with others and bring them on so they can speak to it from an expert standpoint, so to speak. So definitely know that you are in for a treat. I had the pleasure of meeting Attorney Browne. I don't know, it's been some months ago now, and we actually met through Angelica because I was in need of her services. I wanted to protect my legacy, right? And so it is very appropriate to have her on. I didn't want this month to go by without having someone that was going to walk us through how to properly protect what we have spent so much time building, right? Again, when you think about tax planning, right, that is protecting what you have built as well, right? And you know how big I am on tax planning because my motto is that the wealthy don't start tax planning once they become wealth, but rather use tax planning as a tool to grow their wealth. So protecting our legacy, protecting our asset is just another tool for our finance family. So with you being in that mindset, right, I want you to be open to the information that is going to be shared tonight and definitely ask questions, all right? So without further ado, I'm going to bring to the stage Attorney Browne. Welcome, Attorney Browne.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Hi, can everybody hear us okay? Like, give us some microphones or some headphones emojis to make sure that you can hear us loud and clear. So, welcome to the stage.
Thank
For
you so
those who do not know this lovely lady, would you please introduce yourself to the Five Finance family?
Absolutely. So my name is Attorney Adjckwc Browne. I am a business entertainment IP lawyer, which basically means I am here to help you secure your legacy, protect the brand you're building, help you build the right type of business structure, and all in all to make sure that as you're out here bringing greatness to the internet, to the community that you serve, that you're protected. Those are my passions. So I'm very happy to be here. I'm so thankful to have the opportunity to speak to you all.
Yes. And we're happy to have you here too. I know like time is definitely money in your realm, so we will be
Yeah.
mindful of your time for sure.
Yeah.
Y'all, we don't want to get billed for this, right? We don't want any bill.
Right. Just well, right now.
Right. But definitely great to have you on. And I want to jump right into it because, again, we know time is money. So when we've been talking about legacy all this month, and we've had different guests on that have shared with us how they have built their legacy. And I even talked about how to protect your legacy through tax planning. But what we didn't get into is how to protect your legacy from a legal standpoint, right? So before we get into it, I want you to first explain, if you don't mind, some of the things that we are going to be discussing that can be protected, like assets. So, at a very high level, if you can explain to us what can be considered an asset.
Okay, so at the highest level, anything of value, anything that adds something to is an asset, right? Anything that takes away is not. And when we're talking about as entrepreneurs, the brand that you're building, your goodwill. So when you do good work, when you bring a great product or service to the community, then you get known for that, and that's what we call goodwill. And that's an asset to your business. It's an asset to your bottom line. It can be calculated in your accounting books. So it's very important that you really have a handle on what it is that you bring to the market, how you can make sure that you protect it and no one else like kind of tarnishes that goodwill or the name that you're building. It's your reputation, it's your brochures, it's the things that you bring that are new and innovative. So things that are patentable, anything that is copyrightable, basically. So if you write a book, you write a novel, you create music, you dance, there's so many different things that I think people are not really aware that really are assets and things that add to the value of your business overall and to your bottom line. But those are some of them. And I just wanted to, which was not to the question, but just wanted to share so you guys have this perspective. We all will leave some legacy, right? We're here. So whatever we do on our time on earth is going to leave an imprint one way or another. So we want to leave something, in my opinion, the best legacy that we can. And if we have a family and children or relatives that we want to leave something to, we want to add to, we want to leave them the assets. We want to be able to say, we did this and here you can have it and you go build on it and run further and faster. And without the right legal protections, it's very hard to do that. So that's why it's so important to me that whenever I come across someone, not only do I help them to do those things, secure the assets, own their stuff, as I like to say, that I explain to them why it's important. So even when you leave me, you know what to do and how to do it, and that your family is better off for it.
I love that. Yep. And that is a fact. We are all going to leave some legacy, good or bad, right? Because you're going to absolutely affect the people that you come in contact with, whether it's a small circle or a larger circle for some of us. So I love that point that you made. And don't apologize for that. Yes, we need all the tea. We welcome all the tea. So thank you for sharing. We do have a question before we get into it any further. So Samurai is asking, so I'm going to hit the ground running. He's going to give us a preference, right? He
Okay.
says, if we own a small business, should we have an attorney on retainer?
Okay. Depends on the size. So small business does not mean small dollars and cents. It
That's
just
right.
really is how many people are employed by it, right?
Right.
So you should agreeing with Angelica in the comments because we can see them. You should build a relationship with an attorney. If you cannot afford to have an attorney or retainer, my instinct is yes, because you want someone on your side as you're going through and building this big thing that you dreamt about doing and you're spending your time and money on, right? You don't want to get hung up by some foolishness that you could have avoided with counsel. But I don't want to say should, because I don't want to deter someone from starting and from doing the work that's in their spirit to bring it forth, right? I don't want it to be like, well, she said I can't afford a trainer, so never mind. So I think yes, but also I think you should always seek advice and see what it will cost if you can't have an attorney that you pay monthly to be on at your service, right? If
Right.
you need something, seek the counsel, see what it would cost, save up for it if you need to, and look for attorneys that will work with you with payment plans or flat fee services, etc., which we do offer, but not a plug, just saying yes. But if you can't, still ask for the consult, still get the advice, and then
Right.
work it into your budget and planning.
No, I love that approach. And I'm right there with you. People ask me that question too as an accountant, like, do I need an accountant? And I always tell them, it's an accountant attorney is like insurance, right? So you always want to have it, even though you may not need it right now.
Absolutely.
So it's good to connect with those people early on because they can save you money and definitely time and ensure that things are set up properly. So to just to piggyback on what Attorney Browne was saying, Samurai, I would definitely have a consultation with an attorney if there's something that you are trying to start, even if it's just to give you guidance as to which path to take, right? I think a conversation early on is always best when you're talking about an accountant, an attorney, things of that nature, right? Just to make sure that things are set up properly. Believe me when I tell you, it will save you money and time down the road. I can promise you that. Um,
Absolutely.
yep. See,
I wanted to amen that
there you go.
because when people, I hear so many awful stories as an attorney that, could have been prevented,
Hmm.
but now what the remedy is 2 years in court. And
Mm,
believe the cost of court is going to be way higher than the cost of a consultation, even if it's a paid one, which so get the advice if you feel unsure. Like, yes, you should
right.
build relationships. I do think. And if you're not ready, if your business is not making the income to support monthly retainer fees, that doesn't mean you should not consult an attorney and then be ready to go to them when you need that contract drafted, or when you need this deal reviewed, or whatever, trademark, copyright, etc. So build the relationship.
Yep.
Definitely don't neglect that, please, because it's going to cost you more in the end.
I promise you it will. And I approve this message.
Mhm.
So, so thank you for walking us through like what different assets are. So then, so Wayne says that's great advice, Angelica. Many people are afraid to call legal advice because they don't understand. They can call and get a consultation for free. Yes, sometimes, hello, attorneys will give you like a free consult. Some attorneys will give you a free consult. I know I do free consultations because I need to see first what the problem is. Like we need to assess the problem. Now, if
Yeah.
it's going to take more time, okay, then that will be billed, right?
Right.
But for an assessment, no, I'm not going to charge you for a quick assessment.
Yeah.
But definitely, yeah, don't sleep on that. If you feel like you need to talk to somebody right away before you make something that can cost you a lot more money down the road, definitely reach out and talk to an attorney first. So thank you for that plug, and then also thank you for explaining to us like what assets are, because I know when we think about assets, Attorney Browne, it's easy for us to equate that to something tangible, right? But I think it's the non tangible or the intangible assets that we don't put as much value on. And I feel like those are the things that are can be most valuable sometimes, right? Because you
You,
mentioned it, your
yeah.
goodwill. That's your name, right? What people know about you. So you think about a company like Walmart, right? When you see that Walmart logo, what immediate you like, oh, I'm gonna get a good deal. That's what
Right.
you feel. That's what you
Right.
know, right?
Mhm.
That's what they have established. That's their brand.
Right.
It's no different than Apple. When you see that Apple logo, you know, ooh, you know what? That's gonna be some good quality. That's
Right.
what you equate it to, right? And so it's to me sometimes that's more expensive than the actual product, right?
It
I
actually.
did a
Absolutely.
I did a live a few I don't know a few months ago, and I said the cost of this phone, right,
Mhm.
maybe $10 for them to make, right?
Yeah.
But I'm willing to pay five hundred
15.
dollars because guess what? It got the Apple logo. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And
Yeah.
so some people, there's value in that. That's all I'm saying. People like there's value in the intangible as well. So I wanted to make sure that we stayed there and we
Yeah.
really, drove that home because some people, when they create like their business, for instance, so, and I'll tell y'all my story. So, how I came in contact with Attorney Browne is I wanted to protect my logo. I feel
Mhm.
like I am establishing a business that I know is going to have longevity and that I know is going to change the lives of people that goodwill that I'm creating, right? And I wanted to make sure that that was protected. And so I think as small business owners, it's imperative that we protect what we have put our blood, sweat, and tears into building, right? Because what you don't want to do is have somebody else come along and just take the credit for what you have done and you don't have a leg to stand on. Am I right in saying that, Attorney
You're
Brown?
so right. If you knew how excited I am right now to discuss this, because it's a soapbox that I'm on. First part, what you said is so accurate and so true, and you use great examples, Walmart and Apple, and you Google, and you think of all the
Right.
big names that we know, they're household names. The value when you see that stock and you know that it's $500 or $1,000 to get one share, and it's going to split 8 times, most of the valuation of that company is in the name.
That's it.
It so when they say it's an $800 billion company, 450 billion of it is the brand.
Mm.
I'm
Wow.
those are not numbers for
Right,
any of them. I'm
right,
just giving you like it's so when you don't own the brand, you can never get to that value, right?
right.
You can that's one, right? You can't sell it for that. You can't. There's so many things, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a little um, down the road. But what happens? What I think that small business owners think, well, I'm not Google or I'm not Walmart or I'm not, and I'm a ways from there. And I would love to be there, but I'm a ways from there. But what you also don't realize is, and I'm not saying that those particular companies that I just mentioned practice this, but a lot of large companies will take from small companies and just without credit, without payment, without anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you that because I have clients who come to me in tears and distraught because their artwork, their designs, their clothing is in
Mm-hmm.
Barney's or it's in some European designer's catwalk, and
Mm-hmm.
they just took it. And they just because there was no copyright registration, there's no trademark registration, there
Mm-hmm.
was there was no formal business. So what they know is the money that it will take you if you didn't pay to register your trademark or you didn't do a
Mm-hmm.
copyright, the money it's going to take you to prove you had it first, and the time it's going to take you to get anything from them, they will have made all the money off of your brand and took it off their shelves. So
Wow.
yes. So the small entrepreneur, when you know you bring beauty and something wonderful, whatever it is, and I say beauty, I mean something good to commerce. Believe me, if you know it, someone else does. And don't think you're too small to protect that because those are the little fish that get ripped off the most frequently.
Mm.
And
That's
unfortunately, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, unfortunately, then it becomes a real money challenge because we're talking about lawsuits and investigations
Mm-hmm.
and commandeering their books so that we can see how much money did they really make off of you and your
Wow.
brand and your idea. And that, if you can imagine, that's
Right.
timely, cost consuming, all of that thing. And so I was just very excited that you brought those 2 points up
Right.
because the brand is what is so much of the worth of a good business, a big business, and big
Mm-hmm.
businesses take from small ones. So don't think because you're not that name that they're not watching or looking or seeing your bubble, whatever it is that you're doing. You know, when you start making waves in your community and in service and product, whatever it is you do,
Hey, we all got to start somewhere, right? I believe that Amazon started out of a
in a
garage,
garage.
correct? Hello.
Yes.
So we all got to
Don't
start
devalue
somewhere.
yourself by not taking the time to protect what you
Right.
bring.
I
That's
love
that's
that. So then
saying.
that brings me to my next point because I was going to ask you, like, as a small business owner, when should we start protecting our brand? When should we start protecting our legacy?
So if you are, this is like an internal question. You have to look inside and say, am I
Mm-hmm.
really building something I want to build on, or am I doing something that's a short term like endeavor? And so if you know that this is something that you want to build on, and that someone taking a part of that brand would cripple your build process, that's when you need to to protect the brand. And I usually, it's not right at the beginning for me. I know other attorneys would say that. And the reason why I say that is because brands and your avatar, meaning like whoever your customer is or whatever who you're trying to market to, do evolve as you become better at being an entrepreneur. So maybe what you started out with won't be the thing that you build on. But as the person that is the captain of that ship and CEO of your business and dream, you know when you've hit what it is you want to stake your ground, like put your flag in and grow with. And that's the point when you need to be protecting those assets. And the only reason I say not before is because you may invest in some assets that you later are like, "Oh, I don't want this anymore." And that's okay too. That's okay too, because if we think about Facebook becoming Meta, I mean, they still needed to protect Facebook,
Right.
but they grew it into this major thing before they went in a different direction. So if you're not sure, when you know you want to really build around that, that's the point. And if you're really unsure, it's like if somebody took this from me tomorrow, would my business be at a standstill? Would I be devastated? If either one of those is yes, you need to press go on protecting those items.
I love that. So y'all have it, all right? That's the litmus test, right? If you were not able to use your name, if you were not able to use your website, what would that do to your business? You
Mm,
definitely need to protect it. All right, so we have a question before we go any further. So Angelica says, could you give an example of the difference between a copyright and a trademark?
sure. So when you think trademark, you're thinking about the brand name. So it could be your business name, it could be a slogan that you do business under, and it is exactly how you described it. It gives you the customer an idea about what it is that is coming to the market. So like you said, you know, you Walmart, you see that blue with the yellow, you know you're going to get a good deal. You
Mhm.
see Apple, you know you're going to get a good product. And whatever else, you know, you see the circle with the red dots, you know you're going to buy everything in the store for no reason.
Right.
You know, like whatever it is that you are bringing to the market, and it gives the customer an idea about you, and you build that brand through the efforts that you do in marketing and actually just doing business. So those are the kind of things that are trademarks, and they can be very, it could be sounds, it could be a color, it could be a slogan, like I said, or the name business could be your name if you're an artist, or your name is the way that you do business, so your fashion line, et cetera, et cetera. When we talk about copyrights, it's like you want to think pictures,
Mm,
music, compositions,
mm.
books that you've written, original works of authorship, and to the copyright is a bundle of rights that you have as soon as you create anything. So when you take a picture of someone, the picture belongs to you because you took it, even if it's of them. Um,
Wow.
mhm.
Say that again.
Yeah.
Wow. Because it's
So
your work.
right. You own the copyright as soon as you create something. What
Wow.
the point of registration, so just to make the real like distinction, is that you can't sue anyone for
Hmm.
infringement, which means for trying to take it over and act like it was theirs without the registration.
Wow.
So
So,
copyrights are kind of like your God-given right, if you want to think of it like that. Like when
right.
as soon as you do something, it belongs to you. You have the right to reproduce it, to say how it's used, this, that, and the third. But people will take it and steal and do whatever they want to do, and the way to stop them is through the registrations.
Wow. I had no idea. So, okay, I'm sorry. This is like totally off
But the picture
subject,
thing,
probably,
yeah.
but it reminded me of something. So, let's say that I don't know, I'm at work, right? And we're doing an event and they're walking around taking pictures of
Mm-hmm.
people at the event. It's my image,
Yep.
but they took the picture, so
Mm-hmm.
they technically don't need my okay to put that on their website?
Depends, but technically. So,
Wow.
and the reason why I say it depends is because you're at work. Do you have the expectation of privacy? Did you sign a waiver, maybe in your employment
Right?
agreement, that says, you know, if you're at any event at work, if, you know, we can take pictures of you? Usually that's in there
Right.
with a bigger corporation. So, but generally speaking, the photo belongs to the person who took the photo, which is
Wow.
why you'll see celebrities or influencers, or, you know, I think Kim Kardashian was one of them recently, where they get sued for posting pictures of themselves because they didn't, the paparazzi took the picture. It doesn't,
Ooh.
the picture belongs to them.
They done changed the game. The paparazzi has changed the game.
Isn't that crazy? It's a like a little, and so even when you get people to do things for you in your business, you want to have like agreements, legal
Right.
agreements, that whatever they take belongs to you. But really,
Wow.
technically, it doesn't, right? So you want those. that's some of the things that we counsel when you come to us for like business setup and stuff like that. Is like all of those things are legal like arrangements. You like if you come and take photos in your office or want to, you at on site, you want some agreement between you and the photographer that everything that they snap is
Right.
yours. Yeah.
Okay. So, I know how you were saying that you don't want to tell people to reach out to you immediately, but given the fact of so much that we don't know, I feel like as small business owners, we need to reach out to an attorney.
Well,
Like,
yes, I was saying not immediately on a trademark. If you're starting a
right.
business, call an attorney because I think that
Yes,
there's a lot of tools you can use. There's self help tools, but
absolutely.
there's no explanation or guidance with those tools. The tool
Right.
expects you to know what to put in. You know what I mean? So when you
Right.
go to a platform, it's like, okay, tell me what you want. I'm gonna spit it out. It's AI, right?
Right.
But that doesn't take into account your personal situation or what it is you like are wholly trying to accomplish.
Right.
So I do think like as you setting up a business, you want to consult with an attorney to make sure the business is structured properly for you, to make sure you have an operating agreement that says really what you want it to
Hello.
say, because
Yes,
that governs the business.
that's right.
That if you have partners especially, that you have those agreements laid out at the beginning, because
Right.
sometimes relationships dissolve and now
Hello.
it's right now it's not so great because you didn't talk about that when everybody was getting my favorite catch sign, do it all when you're all getting along, right? Get it at the
That's
beginning.
right.
So definitely, yes, maybe I misspoke. I was saying as far as like when do you need the retainer. I mean, you can do that as soon as you can afford it, but
Right.
you whenever you're like doing something that you know is a legal relationship, you want to consult a legal
Yep. No, I,
advisor.
I agree. And that saying can apply to a marriage too. Like when people are
Yeah,
writing prenups, do it when you all getting along.
when
Okay.
you're getting along, even with the business, if sometimes
Right.
it's like, and it you don't want it's there's no doom and gloom in that. It's just
Right.
practical, and
Right.
then that way you never need it. Great, awesome.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Awesome.
Even
We never
better.
use it.
Exactly. All right, well, we have one question. Listen, my mind is blown over here. Okay, so we got a question. So Marie Mitchell is asking, so how legal is a copyright that people mail to themselves? Oh, this is what
It's
I
not.
heard of. It's called the poor man's copyright, right?
Mm-mm.
So what is this? Is this legal?
No.
Not at all right.
Mm-mm.
You have heard it. So Tony Brown says that poor man's copyright is not legal. It will not hold up in court.
Yeah.
All right, we have another question. Angelica says, this content creation world, a lot is stolen in copywriting pictures. Intellectual information is often stolen. What is your suggestion to protect?
Okay. So couple of things I suggest. There's levels to it, right? So if you have stuff on your website or wherever you post content at, I would suggest you have a copyright notice at the bottom of that, that indicates that this and in terms of use. So how can people use the information that is on your site? Which usually, if I was writing it for someone, it would involve like not being able to reuse this without permission, or not being able to use it without attribution, like saying where you got it from, depending on what the client needs. So that's one way. Then as far as like, if you have photos and things like that, it's something that you can register via copyright, and you can do that in bulk. It's not the most expensive task on the list of like protecting your legal assets, or your business assets. I'm sorry. So doing an actual copyright registration, with copyright registration, you can go to your web providers and tell them to take it down. You can send a cease and desist, and all
Mm,
after um, with those registrations, you don't need a court. You go to the Google, whoever is the purveyor, wherever it's at, and say, get that out of here because it belongs to me. Here's the proof, and then they just do it. It's very straightforward.
right.
But also watermarks are a good thing. Just in general, if especially if the photos or the pictures or whatever are like really central to the business that you do,
Mm-hmm.
because I've had clients and some they've had like they're photographers, so they see their work in other places, but it has their name on it. So really, what happens is it directs them back to the source,
Mm,
with the watermark there, and it just depends on what their strategy is on growing their business, and if they really, whether they want to go through the takedown process or whether they want to leave it there and just be like, hey, you took that from me, you have to pay me.
right.
Um, so, but as far as protection goes, copyright notice, watermarks, copyright registration.
And this can be something that the photographer does or the person being photographed.
So if you have a legal agreement between you and the photographer, so work for
Hmm.
hire, some assignment of that copyright, let's just say it was you, and they've taken pictures of you, you paid them for them. Now you own them. They've given you the assignment. You would do the registration. If the
Oh,
photographer owns the photos and there's been no assignment, then they would do the registration.
okay. All right. Well, there you have it. Hopefully that answers your question, Angelica. Again, I'm over here just learning all of this good information. So I hope y'all are taking notes as well. Because I promise you, I didn't know the poor man's copyright was not a thing. So thank you for schooling us on that. Even Wayne says, great question, Angelica. He's taking notes because he's a content creator. See, so you're helping people that are actually providing services to other people because we didn't know.
I'm
And
very
what
glad.
what you don't know, you just don't know.
Yeah.
So that brings me to another question then. So when we have people that are out here creating content, right? People definitely also create slogans, right? And I've seen people protect slogans. So when
Yep.
someone is protecting, because I have a slogan, right? And I definitely am probably going to be talking to you a little later on about protecting that.
Yep.
But when someone protects a slogan, what does
Mhm.
that do for them? And then what does it prevent the outsiders from doing?
Okay. Um, so it prevents someone else from using the same slogan in the same business that you're doing. And
Okay.
generally, someone else would be prohibited from using it in a similar business. And okay, so the way that if you've never done a trademark registration, the way that they work is that you register the trademark, the brand name, the slogan, your name, whatever it is, in a trade channel or a trade class, and that means that. So, from in my example, I have a trademark in legal education and legal services. And so no one else can say when you need us where you are for legal services and legal education because that's my mark. And that's how we kind of make our brand that we're virtual, we're accessible, we will meet you on weekends, whatever the case may be. But that doesn't mean someone couldn't use something similar to sell school buses. Now, I don't know why they would
Mm,
want to, but
right.
they're very much not related because
Right.
the idea, I know, I was trying to think of something really wild. The idea behind it is that the trademark office wants to prevent the likelihood of confusion to the
Mm,
consumer. So if you would not think that somebody selling school buses was also Brown law,
right.
right there. It's just so far apart that it's really unlikely that it would create confusion. So they could use something similar, but they probably would not, just
Right.
because it's already protected. So that's what it
Right.
does. It limits someone else from doing the same thing in the same area, and that's also why when you get ready to do a mark, you want to do all the areas you do business in and that you
Mm,
intend to do business in. So if I was a radio station, which I do have clients who have radio stations, you want to do broadcast, you want to do entertainment, you want to do streaming services, and if you have an app, you want to do downloadable software because those are all different classes, and you want your brand protected in all those areas.
that's
That's,
good.
does that answer?
Yeah, no, that definitely answers. Well, I mean, I'm clear. Um,
Okay.
no, that definitely answers the question because, like, hear people all the time saying that they trademark a particular slogan.
Hmm.
But I didn't know what that meant. Like, I didn't know if that meant I can't make a posting on Facebook with that particular slogan anymore. But it sounds like as long as I'm not operating in that same realm, right, that they're using that for, like they have it trademarked for that specific business industry.
Right.
As long as I'm not doing that, then we should be good.
Should be good, not pretending to be them, not
Right,
creating confusion that you're like affiliated with them.
right,
That's where the danger comes in, and you usually get a cease and desist or a takedown or something like that.
right.
And then the other thing it does is it adds value to your business. Where we talked about the brand is really a big portion of the dollar
Mm-hmm.
value of a business. So if at some point you wanted to get investors in your business or sell your business, having any registered marks and copyrighted material registered provides more value to the investor. So investors, when they're like virtual or they're silent or whatever, or if they're active investors, they normally want to see that you've done those things, that they're investing into something that you actually own. Like they don't want to give you money to help grow something that's going to be taken away from you in a year because you're really infringing on somebody else's mark, which
Right.
happens,
Right.
unfortunately, because people don't know. One of the things I suggest, as a side note, is, and when you start a business and you think about building a brand and you want to have a slogan, get on, Al Gore's internet and just see if somebody else is doing it. Just take a look around. I don't always think it's malicious. I think sometimes people just hadn't looked,
Right.
and so then they begin building a brand around something that belongs to someone else,
Somebody else. Right.
and
Right.
then they get shut down. I have a client who was building a it's kind of like a TV show. It was multinational, so going to different countries, asking questions it was very, very cool. And he built it around a certain phrase, had over 1 million followers on the various platforms. So it was ready to the mark belonged to someone else.
Wow. Wow. So I think we lost Attorney Browne, but let's see. Oh, we have her back. Okay, there we go. Yes. Okay.
So,
So the mark belonged to someone else.
yep.
Wow. And so
Yeah.
all of this effort, all of this time,
Goodbye.
oh my gosh, that would hurt my heart. So
It,
yeah.
it, yeah.
So
And I know just because he's a client that it wasn't that he knew and he just didn't care. He didn't
right.
know. He didn't know to
Right.
look. A young man being ambitious and entrepreneurial, and he did build something beautiful. But so my suggestion, which I can't talk to everyone, but whoever hears this, if you're going to start something or tell a friend, just look, just
Yeah.
see, because save
Right.
yourself at least that headache and heartache of having to rebrand.
Right. And if you see something, I would definitely connect with Attorney Browne next and maybe say, hey, what are my options? Because
What are
I
my
see this.
options?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So have that conversation early on. All right. We have one last question and then we're
Yep.
going to have to wrap it up. This has been an awesome conversation. All right. So Samurai says, should a person or business looking to partner with an attorney interview different attorneys to find a good fit?
I would say yes,
Yes.
for sure. I think I had a question somewhat ways back when someone asked me, how do they know what's good, advice for marginalized people? They feel, this was a younger artist who's asking. So, without talking to more than one attorney, right? You don't know if you will gel with that person because you need to work with them and be able to provide information and get communication back from them. You don't know
Right.
if you're going to feel respected or if your voice will be heard. You won't know that without a little bit of conversation. And if you've never had an attorney before, you kind of won't know what to expect from them at all. So I definitely recommend that you speak to a few, um, however many you can, fit into your schedule, out of three at least. It's just like any other major purchase. I would do the same thing. So I definitely recommend it because sometimes it's just not a good fit.
Right.
That's just that plain and simple. So yeah,
I agree, and I approve that message because that's the same thing I tell them. The power of three. Always get
yeah,
three quotes. I don't care what you're doing. If it's a major purchase, if it's a major decision, you're about to get three
yeah,
different quotes, three different opinions.
yeah.
So thank you so much, Attorney Browne. Like it has been an awesome privilege to learn tonight. Like I was right here with the Five Finance family. I hope y'all were taking notes because I know I was. 'Cause I was right here just learning with y'all too. Because it's so much information, unfortunately, out on these internet streets
Yeah.
that a lot of it could be bad. Right? Like there's some good information out there too, but there's also some bad information. And so,
Misinformation.
yeah, right. And until we like know what's right and what's wrong, like we can continue down a path that can cause us a lot of heartache and a lot of money, unfortunately. So I appreciate you for getting us right and schooling us today because I was taking notes and I was like, oh, wow, did not know you can do that. So thank you so much for your time. So, I know that you have a giveaway that you want to talk about. So, let's
Mhm.
tell the people what they need to do to take advantage of the giveaway. And if you can explain to them what you want to give away tonight.
Awesome. So I am reducing our services for trademark registration since we spent a good portion of time talking about that. If you feel that that's something that you're ready to do and you want to do it with me, you can go to my website, which I believe is going to be posted, but it's lawwhereyouare.com, and we will honor your request from now to the end of next month, and we'll give you 25% off of that service. So if you go into services, you'll see our flat fee. It'll describe what we do. The code is FYE. FYE, and you'll get 25% off of trademark registration. Also, if you could, and if you'd like to, follow me on Instagram. Every year, we do a trademark giveaway. So our services are totally free to whoever wins that. It's basically like a little spinny wheel raffle. We are trying to help as many people as possible to own their stuff and to secure their legacy for their family. So I am so glad I could come, and I hope that you will take advantage of that.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Listen, I learned a lot, and according to the people in the comments, honey, they learned a lot as well. So I'm pretty sure some people will be in contact with you. And thank you again for sharing with the Five Finance Family that special discount code. So Five Finance Family, the code is in the comment, FYE. All right. So make sure that you are visiting Attorney Browne's website if you are looking to protect your legacy, right? She just explained to us all of the things that need to be protected. So if you are a person that's looking at doing that, make sure you visit the website and use that code to get a discount. Again, thank you so much, Attorney Browne, for
Thank
your
you for
time.
having
I'm
me.
so glad that this was not a billable hour, honey, because I don't know if I would have been able to afford it, Attorney Browne. But I so much appreciate it. It was a great conversation. A lot of good information was shared, and definitely an eye-opening experience for me, and I'm sure for the people that were in the comments for the Five Finance Family. So I'm going to ask you to wait backstage
Okay.
while I wrap things up and say goodnight to the Five Finance Family. But thank you again so much for coming on tonight. We appreciate
My
you.
pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you.
All right. All right, Five Finance family. So you heard it here, right? Attorney Browne set us straight on a lot of things, including that poor man's copyright. Who knew? But now you know, all right? And when you know better, then you do better, right? So definitely make sure that you are connecting with Attorney Browne if you want to learn more about the services that she offers and you feel that you need to get your legacy protected. Because I would hate for you to be the example that she provided towards the end of the show and you build this thing and now you can't even reap the benefits, right? So get protected. All right, so next week we're going to have yet another guest. We're going to have Antoine on the show. So, this is going to be a special conversation because me and him actually graduated from high school together. And he's going to be talking to us about how to build a legacy while flipping assets. So, without full disclosure, listen, my dude is doing a lot of things. He's doing big things in the Charleston, South Carolina area. We're going to be talking about Toro. We're going to be talking about wholesaling properties. So you definitely want to tune in, even if you maybe not interested in those particular areas, but you just want to learn about like how he was able to use assets in order to build this legacy that he's creating. You definitely want to tune in. I'm sure it's going to be a great conversation, a lot of helpful information like we do every week, right? And again, if you love the show, please make sure that you are subscribing to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you are visiting our YouTube channel. If you are there, subscribe. If you like the show, like it. All right. So we want to make sure that we get those subscriptions up and we want to share this information with others. So don't feel free to share the channel as well. This is free information that we bring before you every week because we want people to be successful, right? And we want to make sure that people are doing things the right way. So that's why we come before you week after week. Definitely also make sure that you are following our podcast. So we are streaming on Audible and Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. So make sure that you are listening to us on your ride to work or maybe while you're at the office working. And if you want to connect with me one on one, make sure you are visiting our website, www FYE finance.com. You can visit our website and you can book a consultation. My consultations are absolutely free. So definitely book an accounting or you can book a tax consultation. And yes, I am still taking tax consultations, believe it or not. But you can definitely visit the website to do that, right? So again, Five Finance family, thank you so much for your time this Tuesday evening. I know that you have learned a lot, and I am so appreciative of you coming back week after week and week after week. Guess what? I'm going to continue to share. So until next time, Five Finance family, you all have a blessed and wonderful Tuesday evening, and we will see you next week.